March, and it's lovely to see you here. Well, in the camera anyway, not in the classroom. I hope everyone's keeping well, that you're listening and you're following your home packs. And you know what? Let's get to reading chapter 3.
Hi there, girls and boys. Happy Friday. What did you think about that, girls and boys, me being in the classroom there? I have to say it was very strange being in the classroom, not having any of you there. Definitely, I was missing everyone there in the classroom. Update on Education City. I hope you've all been using it. I've been noticing some of you have been accessing it. I wonder, has anyone been seeing my jokes? Hope you have and that you've been checking and looking out for them. On top of that, not only am I putting more activities this Monday coming on Education City, I'm also going to put a link down below to the channel The Body Coach, because he's been doing PE lessons for girls and boys across the whole of the UK. So check him out as well. Now, let's get on with the book. Okay, let's get this show on the road with The Phantom Tollbooth, Chapter 3, Welcome to Dictionopolis. "You must excuse my gruff conduct," said the watchdog, after they had been driving for some time. "But you see, it's traditional for watchdogs to be ferocious." Milo was so relieved at having escaped the doldrums that he assured the dog that he bore him no ill will, and in fact was very grateful for the assistance. "Splendid," shouted the watchdog. "I'm very pleased. I'm sure we'll make great friends for the rest of the trip. You may call me Talk." "That's a strange name for a dog that goes tick, 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 tick." "Why didn't they call you—" "Don't say it." And Milo could see a tear well up in his eye. "I didn't mean to hurt your feelings," said Milo, not meaning to hurt his feelings. "That's all right," said the dog, getting a hold of himself. "It's an old story and a sad one, but I can tell it to you now. When my brother was born, the first pup in the family, my parents were overjoyed and immediately named him Tick, in expectation of the sound they were sure he'd make. On first winding him, they discovered, to their horror, that instead of going tick, 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 he went talk, 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 talk. They rushed to the Hall of Records to change his name, but too late. It had already been officially inscribed, and nothing could be done. When I arrived, they were determined not to make the same mistake twice, and since it seemed logical that all their children would make the same sound, they named me Talk. Of course, you know the rest. My brother is called Tick because he goes talk, talk, talk. And I'm called Talk because I go tick, tick, tick. And both of us are forever burdened with the wrong names. My parents were so overwrought that they gave up having any more children and devoted their lives to doing good work among the poor and hungry." "But how did you become a watchdog?" interjected Milo, hoping to change the subject, as Talk was sobbing quite loudly now. "That is also traditional. My family have always been watchdogs, from father to son, almost since time began. You see," he continued, "once there was no time at all, and people find it very inconvenient." Ooh, that's a big word, inconvenient. I wonder, girls and boys, if you could find your dictionary or even using Google and look up what that means, inconvenient. I'll put it down below so you can see. They never knew whether they were eating lunch or dinner, and they were always missing trains. So time was invented to help them keep track of the day and get to places when they should. When they began to count all the time that was available, what with 60 seconds in a minute, and 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day, and 365 days in a year, it seemed as if there was much more that could ever be done. If there's so much of it, it couldn't be very valuable, was the general opinion, and it soon fell into disrepute. People wasted it and even gave it away. Then they were given the job of seeing that no one wasted time again. It's hard work, but a noble calling, for you see, it is our most valuable possession. more precious than diamonds. It marches on. It and tide wait for no man, and at that point in the speech, the car hit a bump in the road, and the watchdog collapsed in a heap in the front seat, with his alarm ringing furiously. "Are you all right?" shouted Milo. "Humph," grunted Tock. "Sorry to get carried away, but I think you see the point." As they drove along, Tock continued to explain the importance of time, quoting the old philosophers and poets and illustrating each point with gestures that brought him perilously close to tumbling headlong from a speeding car. Oh, now, before long, we've got here to Dictionopolis, and I wonder, girls and boys, I'm going to place the map there again. See if you can find Dictionopolis. Okay, have you found us on the map? Brilliant, we're in Dictionopolis, and let's see what happens here. Before long, they saw in the distance the towers and flags of Dictionopolis sparkling in the sunshine, and in a few moments they reached the Great Wall and stood at the gateway to the city. Ahem! Roared the sentry, clearing his throat and snapping smartly to attention. "This is Dictionopolis, a happy kingdom advantageously located in the foothills of confusion and caressed by gentle breezes from the sea of knowledge. Today, by royal proclamation, is market day. Have you come to buy or sell?" "I beg your pardon," said Milo. "Buy or sell? Sell or buy?" repeated the sentry impatiently. "Which is it? You must have come for some reason." "Well, Come now, if you don't have a reason, you must at least have an explanation or certainly an excuse." Milo shook his head. Very serious, the sentry said, shaking his head. "You can't get in without a reason?" He thought for a moment and then continued, "Wait a minute, maybe I have an old one for you." He took a battered suitcase from the sentry box and began to rummage busily through it, mumbling to himself, No, this won't do. Ah, this is fine," he cried triumphantly, holding a small medallion on a chain. He dusted it off and engraved on the side were the words, "Why not?" "That's a good reason for almost anything. A bit used, perhaps, but still quite serviceable." And with that he placed it around Milo's neck, pushed back the heavy iron gate, bowed low, and motioned them into the city. I wonder what the market will be like, thought Milo, as they drove through the gate. But before there was time for an answer, they had driven into an immense square crowded with long lines of stalls heaped with merchandise and decorated in gaily coloured bunting. Overhead, a large banner proclaimed, "Welcome to the Word Market." And from across the square, 5 very tall, thin gentlemen, regally dressed in silks and satins, plumed hats and buckled shoes, rushed to the car, stopped short, mopped 5 brows, caught 5 breaths, unrolled 5 parchments, and began talking in turn. "Greetings! Salutations! Welcome! Good afternoon! Hello!" Milo nodded his head, and they went on, reading from their scrolls. "By order of Azaz the Unabridged, King of Dictionopolis, Monarch of Letters, Emperor of Phrases, Sentences, and Miscellaneous Figures of Speech, we offer you the hospitality of our kingdom, country, nation, state, commonwealth, realm, empire, palatine, principality." "Do all these words mean the same thing?" gasped Milo. "Of course, certainly, precisely, exactly." "Yes," they replied in order. "Well then," said Milo, not understanding why each said the same thing in a slightly different way, "wouldn't it be simpler to just use one? It would certainly make more sense." "Nonsense! Ridiculous! Fantastic! Absurd! Bosh!" they chorused again. "We're not interested in making sense. It's not our job." Besides, explained the second, one word is as good as another, so why not use them all? Then you don't have to choose which one is right, advised the third. Besides, said the fourth, if one is right, then 10 or 10 times is right. Obviously. You don't know who we are, sneered the fifth, and they presented themselves one by one. The Duke of Definition, the Minister of Meaning, the Earl of Essence, the Count of Connotation, the Undersecretary of Understanding. Milo acknowledged the introduction, and as Tot growled softly, the minister explained, We are the king's advisers, or in more formal terms, his cabinet. Cabinet, recited the duke. A small private room or closet case with drawers, etc., for keeping valuables or displaying curiosities. A council room of chief ministers of state, a body of official advisers to the chief executive of a nation. You see, continued the minister, bowing thankfully to the duke, Dictionopolis is the place where all the words in the world come from. They're grown right here in our orchards. Words that grow? I didn't know that words grew on trees, said Milo timidly. Where did you think they grew? I didn't know they grew at all, admitted Milo. Well, money doesn't grow on trees, does it? Demanded the duke. I've heard not, said Milo. Then something must. Why not words? Exclaimed the undersecretary triumphantly. The crowd cheered his display of logic and continued about its business. To continue, continued the minister impatiently, once a week by royal proclamation, the word market is held here in the great square, and people come from everywhere to buy the words they need or trade in the words they haven't used. Our job, said the Count, is to see that all the words sold are proper ones, for it wouldn't do to sell someone a word that had no meaning or didn't exist at all. For instance, if you bought the word glilium, where would you use it? It would be very difficult, thought Milo, but there were so many words that were difficult, and he hardly knew any of them. But we never choose which ones to use, explained the Earl, as they walked towards the market stalls. For, as long as they mean what they mean to mean, we don't care if they make sense or nonsense. Innocence or magnificence, added the Count. Common sense? Said the Undersecretary. That seems simple enough, said Milo, trying to be polite. Easy as falling off a log, cried an Earl, falling off a log with a loud thump. Must you be so clumsy? Shouted the Duke. All I said was, We heard you, said the minister angrily, and you'll have to find an expression that's less dangerous. The Earl dusted himself as the others snickered audibly. You see, cautioned the Count, you must pick your words very carefully, and be sure to say what it is you intend to say. And now we must leave to make preparations for the royal banquet. You'll be there, of course, said the minister, but before Milo had a chance to say anything, they were rushing off across the square as fast as they had come. Enjoy yourself in the market, shouted back the undersecretary. Market, recited the Duke, an open space or covered building in which... And that was the last Milo heard as they disappeared into the crowd. I never words could be so confusing, Milo said to Tock as he bent down to scratch the dog's ear. Only when you use a lot to say a little, answered Tock. Milo thought this was quite the wisest thing he had heard all day. Come on, he shouted, let's see the market. It looks really exciting. Now, I have to say, girls and boys, that those men are quite confusing, and I think you would agree. And in fact, chapter 4 is called Confusion in the Word Market. Okay, so that's that for this week's episodes. I hope you enjoyed all 3 of them and that you'll come back again on Monday. Now, just a quick shout out to everyone as well who was leaving me comments on the discussion board on the channel. Just really lovely to hear from you. I hope you're well and just keep having fun, keep learning, and I'll see you really soon. Now, It's time for the...
What do you call a cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese!
Okay, girls and boys, before we end this episode, I'm going to have to end it with some Smarties. Should I, shouldn't I? Yeah.